Mute.
The poet is.
I think it dropped.
Yes, dropped. Let us wait for him.
Coimbatore, Madras.
Koilpatti.
Connectivity might be an issue.
Okay, now Jaykumarji also said he will just join.
Okay.
We'll just wait for him. In the meantime, I'll start with the starting prayers. So don't waste time. Okay? Is that okay?
Please.
Oh. Oh. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwarah, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Sahana Vavatu, Sahana Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahe, Tejasvina Vaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namaskaram Guruji.
Namaskaram.
Arjay, namaskaram. So that's a good attendance today.
Guruji ki namaskaram.
Guruji ki.
Namaskaram. Jaykumar.
Jaykumar, now Jaykumar ji will introduce Srinivasan ji. So Jaykumar ji, kindly you can introduce.
Sure. Let me. Am I audible?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So namaste to everybody. Once again, nice to see all of you. So we have with us Brahmachari Srinivasan ji, and we have been friends for almost 20 years now, 15 plus years. And I met Srinivasan ji when I was studying in the ashram in Anaikatti, Arshavidya Gurukulam. I had taken a short course, a 2-month course on a text that Swamiji was teaching, Vedanta Sara. So at that time, Srinivasan ji had already completed a 3.5-year course in Nagpur. So there are 3 ashrams, Arshavidya Gurukulam in India. So Coimbatore, Nagpur, and Rishikesh. And so by then he had finished it, and he was teaching, and he had just been given an assignment by Pujya Swami. And his assignment was to be the project manager of an organization Swamiji had started called All India Movement for Seva. How many of you have heard of Aim for Seva? Yeah, so Aim for Seva, 4 or 5 of you, 6 of you. Okay. So he became the project manager when I came to know of him. And I was involved with Aim for Seva in a small way, helping Swamiji, etc. And so I got a chance to work closely with with Srinivasan. And so he was a project manager, and Aim for Seva was running what is called a Chatralaya, means a home where students who cannot afford to study or stay by themselves in remote corners of India, in many states, running those kinds of hostels, you can say, Chatralayas. And so Srinivasanji's job, he was the head of all the activities of Aim for Seva. So he would travel all over India, and he was a perfect person for this, because Srinivasanji is adept at understanding the ground realities and working with the people on the ground, and often people who may work against against people. And so he's very good at that, and so he was the right person. And so I learned a lot from Srinivasanji during those years that he was a project manager, and beyond that also. And then he left Aim for Seva to take care of his parents. He lives in a place called Kovilpatti, which is near Tirunelveli, Thoothukudi, in southern part of Tamil Nadu, for those of you who may not be aware. And that's where he's living now. And so like me, he teaches Vedanta through online mechanism, and he's been teaching for a much longer time. And so now, of course, his full time is teaching Vedanta. But in the meantime, Swamiji gave him another project. So Puja Swamiji, I don't know how many of you know this, and Swamiji, people would come to him and then suggest various things, and then Swamiji would say, yes, we should do that. And he came to know of this Oduvars in our Shiva temples, and the tradition is there are what are called Oduvars who sing the hymns in praise of Shiva, and called Tevarams, and that tradition had been dying away. In Tamil Nadu, I mean, it should be going everywhere, but in Tamil Nadu itself, if it's dying away, that's not a good thing. So Puja Swamiji started this project of recognizing, supporting financially, and then establishing Oduvars back in temples. Like our Tanjavur Brihadishwara temple, there is no bigger temple than Brihadishwara temple, and it's a Shiva temple, and you are supposed to have all these things. And so he started that project. And so I recognized many Oduvars. Then Srinivasanji was asked to lead that project. And so he was a leader. So he used to conduct many annual programs for Oduvars and bringing them together. And he will tell us a lot of stories when he has time, and about some of the things he's done. And he listened to it every year. I listen to it, and I still feel like listening to it, because that's how, when a tradition is getting lost, then how, when you bring it back together, how it comes, the energy with which it comes, and the people who are in their families, Dikshitars, and these families, this is their only livelihood, this is their life. They give their entire life for just Shiva, that's it. And then they sing in praise of Shiva. And you have to hear those stories from him. And so he has been in charge of that project. And and he is a trustee of Arsha Seva Kendram also. And he heads our temple revival project. We are now doing it in a big way. And even last week, Mahalakshmi ji was trying to get a hold of him, and he was not able to reach Srinivasanji. That's because he's been traveling and he's been establishing certain important things. And we want this project to be successful. And once this becomes successful, then we have bigger things that we would like to do in terms of temple revival. It's amazing. There are many temples which are big and it's not running. Doors are closed. Our door is open. Nobody knows what's happening in those temples. Like that we have in Tamil Nadu. So we have identified about 5 temples. He will tell us a lot about that. But that's our Srinivasanji here in front of us. Please give him a big hand. Back to you, Mahalakshmi ji.
Namaskaram, Srinivasanji. So, shall we start with the assessment? I'll make the takeout names so each one of them can chant.
Yeah, definitely. Please start.
Okay.
We should allow Srinivasanji to say a few words if they have something in mind.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much for inviting me, and thank you, Jekmaji, for kind words about me. I hope that I will live up to whatever Jaikumar says. And we have come together and to do Bharata Hitaya and Atmano Mokshartam Jagat Hitaya. That is a statement we have to keep in mind. For us, for oneself, is a moksha, is the pursuit. And when it comes to the Bharata Desha, so we have to look at the Bharata Desha as our own parents and we have to look after them. How we have a duty towards our parents. Similarly, when we look up to the country, we have to do whatever that we should do to revive the culture and our religion, our parampariyam, which has been established over a period of time. Now we are having a challenging, we are in a challenging time, and we have to do a lot to face our counterparts, predators. They are preying on us, and we have to protect ourselves. And so that is the work that we are, Arsha Seva Kendra, trying to attempt to do in a small way. And I'm very fortunate to be part of that. And we are sincerely engaged in teaching Vedanta, studying Vedanta, teaching Vedanta. At the same time, I am fully passionate into this temple revival project, along with other sevas. And this particular thing that last month that we have taken up in a big way. And I have chosen 5 temples across Kovilpatti and uncared for, unattended to. And the temples are very big. We have no dearth of big temples. So many big temples. But even Bhagavan, for his food, the bhog, even that particular time, no one is there to offer. All that Shiva, Lord Shiva wants one bowl of Shuddha, But even that is not offered, where we have come to. Where, and each temple has got a land of minimum 10 to 15 acres. One particular temple where I'm going now, where we have taken up, well, it has got 156 acres. But completely vanished. And now though, reviving it is impossible because the government is such that we cannot even think of going into those people who are holding that land. So in that way that we are working in a very challenging time. But we are getting one small trigger, the people can come. See, one temple which was completely neglected, nobody is there, it's in the middle of the village. All that I did last 2 weeks, just to bring an awareness about this Pradosham and gather people. The Shani Pradosham is the last Pradosham. Shani Pradosham, we have managed to gather 300 people. Last Pradosham, 55 people, because it's a normal day of Pradosham. So these are all the occasions where we can work and bring people together to make them come to the temple. Make them coming to the temple in the village is the biggest challenge now. So we are trying to do that. And with these small words, I just hand over.
Thank you, Guruji. Really. So really great works are going to, you have taken up, and I wish all the success and pronouns to you. So I'll start with the assessment. Shall I call out names? If you are ready, sir.
Yeah.
So first, Ravi ji. Ravi ji, can you unmute yourself?
Yes, you can hear me now.
Yes.
I'll chant chapter 5, 6 to 15.
Sloka number 6 to 15.
Chapter 5.
Chapter 5.
Okay. Srinivasanji, kindly take note.
Yeah,
I can start, no?
Yes.
yeah, please.
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. अथ पंचमोऽध्यायः श्रीभगवान् उवाच सन्न्यासस्तु महाबाहो दुःखमाप्तुमयो गतः योगयुक्तो मुनिर्ब्रह्म न चिरेणाधिगच्छति योगयुक्तो विशुद्धात्मा विजितात्मा जितेन्द्रियः सर्वभूतात्मभूतात्मा कुर्वन्नपि न लिप्यते नैव किञ्चित् करोमीति युक्तो मन्येत तत्त्ववित् पश्यन् शृण्वन् स्पृशन् जिघ्रन् अश्रन् गच्छन् स्वपन् श्वसन् प्रपलन् विसृजन् गृह्णन् उन्मिषन् निमिषन्नपि इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेषु वर्तन्त इति धारयन् ब्रह्मण्याधाय कर्माणि सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा करोति यः लिप्यतेन स पापेन पद्मपत्रविभाम्भसा कायेन मनसा बुद्ध्या केवलैरिन्द्रियैरपि योगिनः कर्म कुर्वन्ति सङ्गं त्यक्त्वात्मशुद्धये युक्तः कर्मफलं त्यक्त्वा शान्तिमाप्नोति नैष्ठिकीम् अयुक्तः कामकारेण फले सक्तो निबध्यते सर्वकर्माणि मनसा सन्न्यस्यास्ते सुखं वशी नवद्वारे पुरे देहि नैव कुर्वन्न कारयन् न कर्तृत्वं न कर्माणि लोकस्य सृजति प्रभुः न कर्मफलसंयोगं स्वभावस्तु प्रवर्तते नादत्ते कस्यचित् पापं न चैव सुकृतं विभुः अज्ञानेनावृतं ज्ञानं तेन मुह्यन्ति जन्तव ज्ञानेन तु ततज्ज्ञानं येषां नाशितमात्मनः तेषामादित्यवज्ञानं प्रकाशयति तत्परम्
Yeah. So can you please chant the 9th sloka once again?
प्रलपन् विसृजन् गृह्णन् उन्मिषन् निमिषन्नपि इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेषु वर्तन्त इति धारयन्.
Thank you.
Very nice. Yeah. Nicely done.
Oh, thank you. Next.
Sandhi is also split properly.
Oh, thank you.
Whenever you have to break a word and appropriately you have done. Very nice.
Okay, next I will call Sudhaji. Unmute yourself. Yeah.
Yeah,
Chapter you
namaste.
chapter?
Second chapter, 1 to 10 shlokas. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha Atha Dvitiyodhyayah Sanjaya Uvacha Tam Tatha Krupaya Vishtam Ashrupurnakulekshanam Vishidantamidam Vakyam Uvacha Madhusudanaha Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kutastva Kashmalamidam Vishame Samupasthitam Anarya Jushtamasvargyam Akirtikaram Arjuna क्लैब्यं मास्मगमः पार्थ नैत्वत्त्वय्युपपद्यते क्षुद्रं हृदय दौर्बल्यं त्यक्त्वोत्तिष्ठ परन्तप अर्जुन उवाच कथं भीष्ममहं संख्ये द्रोणं च मधुसूदन इषुभिः प्रतियोत्स्यामि पूजार्हा वरिसूदन गुरून् हत्वा हि महानुभावान् श्रेयो भोक्तुं भैक्षमपीह लोके हत्वाथ कामांस्तु गुरूनिहैव भुञ्जीय भोगान् रुधिरप्रदिग्धान् न चैतद्विद्मः कतरन्नो गरीयः यद्वा जयेम यदि वा नो जयेयुः यानेव हत्वा न जिजीविषामः तेव स्थिता प्रमुखे धार्तराष्ट्राः कार्पण्यदोषोपहतः स्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेताः यच्छ्रेयस्यान्निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं साधि मां त्वां प्रपन्नम् न हि प्रपश्यामि ममापनुद्यात् यच्चोकमुच्चोषणमिन्द्रियाणाम् अवाप्य भूमा वसपत्नमृद्धं राज्यं सुराणामपि चाधिपत्यम् संजय उवाच एवमुक्त्वा हृषीकेशं गुडाकेशः परन्तप न योत्स्य इति गोविन्दम् उक्त्वा तूष्णीं बभूवः तमुवाच हृषीकेशः प्रहसन्निव भारत सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये विषीदन्तमिदं वचः
Namaskaram. Guruji.
Very nice. It's very difficult to find any mistakes in that.
Oh, great.
Thank you.
धन्यवादः धन्यवादः
Okay, you can take leave if you have.
धन्यवादः महाजी
Yes,
धन्यवादः जयकुमार जी
Very nice.
So I'll call next Vijay Menon ji.
Pranams to Jaykumarji, Srinivasanji, and Mahaji. Okay.
Shloka number?
I am doing chapter 2, 1 to 10. So it's a repetition of what Sudhaji did.
Okay.
Okay. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha Atha Dvitiyodhyayah Sanjaya Uvacha Tam Tata Kripaya Vishtam Ashrupurna Kulekshanam Vishidantamidam Vakyam Uvacha Madhusudanaha Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kutastva Kashmalamidam Vishame Samupastitam Anarya Jushtamaswargyam Akirtikaram Arjuna Klaibyam Masmagamapartha Naitattvai Upapadyate Shudram Hridaya Daurbalyam Tyaktvotishta Parantapa Arjuna Vacha Katham Bhishmamaham Sankhye Dronam cha Madhusudana Ishubi Pratiyotsyami Pujarha Varisudana Guru Nahatva hi Mahanubhavan Shreyo Bhoktum Bhaikshamapiha Loke Hatvarta Kamanstu Guru Nihaiva Bunjiya Bhogan Rudira Pradigdhan Na Chaitadvidmaha Kataranno Gariyah Yadva Jayema Yadivano Jayeyuhu Yaneva Hatva Na Jijivishamaha Tevastita Pramuke Dhartarashtraha कार्पण्यदोषोपहतः स्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसमूढचेताः यच्छ्रेयस्यानिश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधि मां त्वां प्रपन्नम् न हि प्रपश्यामि ममापनुद्यात् यच्चोकमुच्चोषणमिन्द्रियाणाम् अवाप्य भूमावसपत्नमृद्धं राज्यं सुराणामपि चाधिपत्यम् संजय उवाच एवमुक्त्वा ऋषिकेशं गुडाकेशः परन्तप न योत्स्य इति गोविन्दम् उक्त्वा तूष्णीं बभूवः तमुवाच ऋषिकेश प्रहसन्नीव भारत सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये विषीदन्तमिदं वचः।
Guruji.
Yeah, very nicely done. But one small observation that I have, I just want to point out to you that whenever you chant a quarter, wherever there is a visarga comes, you have to add the half the letter of the following letter. See, for example, sixth sloka, nachaitat vidmak kadaranno gariyaha. That vidmak, that vidmaha kadarannaha becomes vidmak kadaranno gari. That half the letter of the following letter you have to add whenever there is a visarga in between two words. When it ends in visarga, you should not add the following letter.
Okay.
Nachaitat vidmak kadaranno gariyaha gariyo yadvajaye mayati vano jayeyuhu devastitap. That ip, that you have to add another pakara. Devastita pramuke dhartarashtra. So you keep that in mind, then you are chanting with the perfect.
Then
Next, Sri Ramji.
Namaste, Guruji. Namaste.
Namaste.
I will chant chapter number 6, 1 to 10. Shall I start?
Yeah.
Yes.
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha Ata Shashtodhyayah Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Anashrita Karma Palam Karyam Karma Karoti Yah Sasannyasi Cha Yogi Cha Na Niragna Chakriyah Yan Sanyasamiti Prahu Yogantam Vidhi Pandava Nahya Sanyasta Sankalpah Yogi Bhavati Kashchana Adurukshor Munir Yogam Karma Karanamuchyate Yogarudasya Tasyaiva Shamah Karanamuchyate Yada Hinendriyateshu Na Karmasvanushajjate Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi Yogarudastochyate Uddharedatmanatmanam Natmanamavasadayet Atmaiva Yatmano Bandhu Atmaiva Ripuratmanah Bandhuratmatmanastasya Yenatmaivatmanajitah Anatmanastu Shatritve Vartetatmaiva Shatruvat Jitatmana Prashantasya Paramatma Samahitah Shitoshna Sukha Dukheshu तथा मानापमानयोः ज्ञान विज्ञान तृप्तात्मा कूटस्थो विजितेन्द्रियः युक्त इत्युच्यते योगी समलोष्टाश्मकाञ्चनः सुहृन्मित्रार्युदासीनमध्यस्तद्वेष्य बन्धुषु साधुष्वपि च पापेषु समबुद्धिर्विशिष्यते योगी युञ्जीत सततम् आत्मानन्दः स्थितः एकाकीयत चित्तात्मा निराशीरपरिग्रहः.
Namaskaram.
Very nice. I have no observation to give you. It is nicely done. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next, Anant ji.
I'll be doing chapter 1.
Chapter 1.
Om Sri Paramatmane Namaha. Kata Prathamodhyayah. Dhritarashtra Uvacha. Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre. Samaveta Mamaka Pandava Chaiva. Kimakurvada Sanjaya. Sanjaya Uvacha. Drishtva tu Pandavanikam. Vyodam Duryodhanastada. Acharyam Upasanghamya. Raja Vajanam Abravi. Pasyaitam Pandaputrana. Acharya Mahratin Chamumu. Vyodam Drupadaputrena. Tava Shishyena Dhimata. Atra Shura Maheshwasaha. Bhimarjuna Samayudhi. Yudhano Viradascha. Drupadasya Maharataha. Drishtaketuchekitanaha. Kasirajasya Viryavan. Urujit Pundibhojasya. Chaivasya Narapungavaha. Yudhamanyusya Vikrantaha. Uttamaujaschya Viryavan. Saubhadro Draupadeyacha. Sarva eva Maharataha. Asmaham tu Visishtaye. Nibodat Vijittama. Nayaka Mama Sainasya. Sanyatam Tan Bravitime. Sanyatam Tan Bravimite. Pavan Bhishmascha Karnascha. Kripascha Samitinjayaha. Ashwattama Vikarnascha. Saubhadaicha Vaicha. Saumaditta Vaicha. Anyecha Bhagavachuraha. Madatte Tyakta Jivitaha. Nana Shastra Praharanaha. Sarve Yuddha Visaradaha. Aparyaptam Patasmakam. Bhalam Bhishma Virakshidam. Paryatmam Chivade Desha. Bhalam Bhishma Virakshitam.
Namaskaram. Guruji.
Yeah, very nicely done, and little more abhyasa is needed for you to have without any break. When you chant, the words has to be familiar, and once the words are familiar with the sloka, then you should be able to get it done. But little more abhyasa.
Okay.
There's no mistakes, but little more abhyasa is okay. Yeah.
Next, Ranate ji.
Namaste.
Namaste. Which chapter?
Chapter 5, 1 to 10, please.
Chapter 5.
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Ata Panchamo Dhyayaha. Arjuna Uvacha. Sanyasam Karmanam Krishna. Onar Yogam Cha Samsasti. Yachreya etayorekam tanme pruhi sunishchitam. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Tanyasya Karma Yogascha Nishreya Sakara Vupuhau Tayostu Karma Sanyasat Karma Yogo Vishishyate Yena Sa Nitya Sanyasi Yona Tveshti Nakan Sati Nirvanvo Hi Mahabaho Sukham bandhat pramuchate Shankya yokau pritag palaha Pravattanti na panditaha Ekam apyastitas samya Gupha yorvindatva Ekam apyastitas samya Gupya yorvintate phalam Yat sankhya prapyate stanam tad yogairapi gamyate ekam shankyam cha yogam cha ya pashyati ekam shankyam cha yogam cha ya pashyati sa pashyati sanyasyastu mahabaho dukkam aptum ayogataha yoga yukto munir prama nachirenadikachati yoga yukto vishuddhatma vichittatma jitendriyaha sarva bhutatma huttatma kurvanapi nalityate neva chinchit karomiti Yukto manyetta tatpatit pashyan srinvan sprashan jikran ashnan gachan svapan svasan pralapan vishrajan prenam unmishan nimishan napi indriyan indriyateshu vartanta ithitarayam pramanyatyaya karmani Sangam chaptva karutiyaha lipyatena sapapena padma patram ivam pasha.
Guruji.
Very well effort. You have put a lot of effort to come to this level, I'm sure. And it's a completely alien language to you. And to chant Sanskrit slokas like this is a big effort. I really appreciate your effort. And as you do, practice more and more, it will be perfected. And take care of the long and short. You know, the Dirgha and Hrasva. When you read a word, you have to take care of which one to be long, which one is to be short. So that if you put a little more attention on that, I'm sure over a period of time, all the slokas will be perfectly chanted by you. Thank you. And it is a very good effort you have put in.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Vidya Parshuramji.
I will chant chapter 4. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Atha Chaturtho Dhyayah. Shri Bhagavanuvacha. Imam Vivasvate Yogam. Proktavanamah. Mahyayam Vivaswan Manave Praha Manurikshva Kave Bravit Evam Parampara Praptam Imam Rajarshayo Viduhu Sakale Neham Mahata Yogo Nashta Parantapa Sa Evayam Maya Tedya Yoga Prokta Puratanaha Bhaktosi me sakha cheti rahasyam hetaduttamam Arjuna uvacha अपरं भवतो जन्म परं जन्म विवस्वतः द्विजानीयाम् स्वमादौ प्रोक्तवानिति श्रीभगवानुवाच बहूनि मे व्यतीतानि जन्मानि तव चार्जुन तान्यहं वेद सर्वाणि न त्वं वेत्तत्परन्तप अजोऽपि सन्नव्ययात्मा भूतानामीश्वरोऽपि सन् प्रकृतिं स्वामधिष्ठाय सम्भवायात्ममायया यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानमधर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम् परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे जन्म कर्म च मे दिव्यम् एवं यो वेति तत्त्वतः त्वक्त्वा देहं पुनर्जन्म नैति मामेति सोऽर्जुन वीतरागभयक्रोधाः मन्मया मामुपाश्रिताः बहवो ज्ञानतपसा पूता मद्भावमागताः ये यथा मां प्रपद्यन्ते तांस्तथैव भजाम्यहम् मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्या पार्थ सर्वशः काङ्क्षन्तः कर्मणा सिद्धिं यजन्त इह देवता क्षिप्रं हि मानुषे लोके सिद्धिर्भवति कर्मजा
12 slokas, Vidyaji. I think 10 slokas.
Okay, sorry.
Very well done, Vidyaji. I'm so happy to hear this and put in a lot of effort, and the meter splitting and the sandhi, the visarga, when the visarga ends, you perfectly took care of the adding the off letter of the following letter. So perfectly done. I'm so happy to hear.
Venkatramanji.
I'm telling from the 5th chapter 1 to 10.
5th chapter. Okay.
Can I start?
Yes, we can start.
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha Ada Panchamodyayah Arjuno Vacha Sanyasam Karmanam Krishna Punaryogam Ta Shamsasi Yatshreya Etayor Rekam Sanme Bruhi Sunishchitam Sri Bhagavanu Vacha Sanyasa Karma Yogascha Nishchaya Sukara Sakara Ubhau Tayostu Karma Sanyasa Karma Yogo Vishishyate Nyaya Sanitya Sanyasi Yonatveshtina Kankshati Nirdvanto hi Mahabaho Sukham Bandhat Pramuchyate Sankhya Yogo Pratak Balaha Pravadanti na Panditaha Yegamapyaschitap Samyak Ubayor Vindate Phalam Yat Sankhya Prapyate Stanam Tat Yogairabhigamyate Yekam Sankyam Cha Yogam Cha Yapashyati Sapashyati Sannyasattu Mahabaho Dukkhamaptumayo Gataha Yoga Yukto Munir Brahma Nacharenadi Kachati Yoga Yukto Vishuddhatma Jitatma Jitentriyaha Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma Kurvannapina Lipyate Naivat Kinjit Karomiti युक्तो मन्येत तत्त्ववित् पश्यन् शृण्वन् स्पृशन् जिघ्रन् अश्नन् गच्छन् स्वपन् श्वसन् प्रलपन् विसृजन् जिघ्रन् उन्मिषन् निमिषन्नपि इन्द्रियाणि इन्द्रियार्थेषु वर्तन्त इति धारयन् ब्रह्मण्याधाय कर्माणि सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा करोति यः लिप्यते न स पापेन पद्मपत्रविवाम्बसा।
Sir, you have muted yourself. Srinivasan ji,
Guruji, you are muted.
Very well done. Except one or two places, the dirgha has to be pronounced properly. The long and the short letter, there is a little bit of mistake, and otherwise your chanting is perfect. Very nice.
Vimala ji, unmute பண்ணிக்கோங்க. எந்த ஸ்லோகம் சொல்லுங்க? இந்த
fourth chapter 1 to 10.
Okay.
Namaste ji. Namaste.
Namaste.
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Atha Chaturthodhyayah. Shri Bhagavanuvāca. Imam vivasvate yogam प्रोक्तवानगमव्ययम् विवस्वान् मनवे प्रात मनुरिक्ष्वाकवे ब्रवीत् एवं परम्परा प्राप्तम् इमं राजर्षयो विदुः सकाले नेगमगता योगो नष्टः परन्तप स एवायं मया तेद्य योग प्रोक्त पुरातन भक्तोऽसि मे सखा चेति रहस्यं भक्तोऽसि मे सखा चेति रहस्यं ह्येतदुत्तमम् अर्जुन उवाच अपरं भवतो जन्म परं जन्म विवस्वतः कथमेतद् विजानीयाम् त्वमादौ प्रोक्तवानिति श्रीभगवानुवाच बहूनि मे व्यतीतानि जन्मानि तव चार्जुन तान्यहं वेद सर्वाणि न त्वं वेत्त परन्तप अजोऽपि सन्नव्ययात्मा भूतानादीश्वरोऽपि सन् प्रकृतिं स्वामधिष्ठाय सम्भवाम्यात्ममायया यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानमधर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम् परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे जन्म कर्म च मे दिव्यम् एवं यो वेत्ति तत्त्वतः त्यक्त्वा देहं पुनर्जन्म नैति मामेति सोऽर्जुन वीतरागभयक्रोधा मन्मया मामुपाश्रिताः बहवो ज्ञानतपसा भूता मद्भावमागताः.
Very well done. Very nicely chanted. No mistakes as far as I could see. And the pronunciation also is very nice. Each letter that you pronounce very carefully. And the Mahaprana, Alpa Prana is very well taken care of.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next, Narayanan ji. Chapter?
Third chapter, Namaskaram.
Third chapter.
Om Shri Krishna Paramatmane Namaha. Atha Tritiyodhyayah. Arjuna uvacha jayasi chet karmanaste matha buddhir janardana tat kim karmani ghore mam niyojayasi keshava vyamishreneva vakyena buddhimohayasiva me tadekam vada nischitya yena shreyom amapnuyam. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Lokesmin Dvivida Nishtha Pura Prokta Maya Nagha Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam Karma Yogena Yoginam Na Karmanam Anarambhan Naishkarmyam Purushoshnute Nacha Sanyasana Deva Siddhim Samadhi Gacchati Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jhatu tishtatya karma krit karyate yavashaf karma sarvav prakriti jairgunaihi karmendriyani sanyamya ya aste manasa smaran indriyarthan vimudhatma mithyacharasa uchyate Yastvindriyani manasa niyamya rabhatirjuna karmendriyai karma yogam asaktasya vishishyate niyatam kuru karmatvam karmajyayo hya karmanaha sharirayatra pichate na prasidyeda karmanaha Yagnarthat karmano nyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha tadartam karma kaunteya mukta sanga samachara saya yagnaf praja srishtva purovacha prajapatihi anena prasavishyadvam yesha ostvishta kamadukha Devan Bhavayatanena Dedi.
10 slokas only.
Oh, okay, right. Thank you.
Very well chanted. One or two places the Dirgha Hrasva problems. Nahi, 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 nahi kaschit kshanamapi, nahi kaschit kshanamapi. That you have chanted nahi. So it has to be small.
Right, Guruji.
That you take care. Very well done.
I think all of you have chanted. Anybody left? Andy?
You have covered everybody, Mahaji.
Yes.
So on the whole, I appreciate the big effort by Mahalakshmi ji and all the students who are regularly learning. And I just want to give you one tip how I have done the Abhyasa. Studying the Gita. Once you learn, so the aim is to learn entire 18 chapters, isn't it? Yes. That's how that your course is going to be.
Yes.
Yeah. So once you learn 18 chapters, then what you can do is make it a sankalpa to chant every day one chapter. How I did is I chant every day one chapter of Abhyasa. And then to practice it, I used to keep the Brahmanandaji's chanting, Swami Brahmananda Chinmaya Mission. His chanting is perfect. Gita chanting, he's expert in that. So I used to find very slow, and every line that he follows with some rhythmic gap that he used to do that. So I used to put on his recording and then follow along with that. And I'm amazed to see within 1 year time, the entire Gita will get by heart.
It's very good.
So you can easily achieve that once you learn the 18 chapters and within no time, maybe in 1 year time, you can do everything. And once you have learned it completely, then when you do the Abhyasa in this manner, every day one chapter that you will do the Abhyasa, over a period of time, the entire Gita will be in your head. Thereafter, we need to learn the meaning, that's all. meaning and the Shankara Bhashyam is a different exercise altogether.
Yeah.
With these words, thank you for inviting me. And it's a big effort, and it requires a lot of punyam to learn Gita. To come to know this and method to learn and make the Gita committed to memory. It's a very big achievement. It's not an ordinary thing that you should not take it lightly. Now, Shankaracharya says in Vivek Chudamani, Muktirno Shatakoti Janma Sukritayi Punyeti Nalabhyate. To introduce to this kind of a thing and exposed to this kind of slokas, it requires a punyam done in crores of janmas. So you all fortunate to be in that lot. You know. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. All the best.
Thank you. Thank you, Guruji, for taking so much time and just helping our students to overcome.
We have nothing else to do except this. So there is no spending time on that. We are supposed to spend time on that.
As you said, after finishing the 18 chapters, abhyasa of one chapter daily, I think everyone will be able to chant, getting in the memory only. And really, I'm happy to meet you all, and I'm very thankful to
so let Jaikumar to say a few words.
Jaikumar ji also for introducing me to you. I will definitely go about the same way, and as you rightly said, the artham or what is it there in the Bhagavad Gita is being done by Jaikumar ji. Now, after completing the first 6 chapters, he has given a short summary of whatever has been told by Bhagavan Lord Krishna in the first chapter. So we are all help from all the ways chanting, as well as we are getting the all the meaning of what the Bhagavad Gita says. That is being helped by Jaikumar ji, and I am really thankful to both of you for giving your time and assessing my students. And students, you all have done so well. I am so happy. 3 cheers to you all. Go home and all of you have some sweets for having done so beautifully and passed me in the assessment. Okay. Jaikumar, would you like to say anything?
Yeah, sure. So it's interesting that everybody chanted from 1 to 10, except for one person. I think Ravi ji chanted from 6. So there's no rule. I don't think Srinivasan put a rule. You must chant from 1 to 10 like that.
No.
No rule like that. So that's fine. That's good. Practicing, we can practice any shloka. And then Srinivasan mentioned, I'll just elaborate on a few points. Srinivasan said about this Visarga. And for example, in 2nd chapter, 6th shloka, so Nachaitad vidmah kataranno gariyah. So he mentioned that. And vidmaha, so you can make a note, 2-6. Vidmaha kataranno. So this is unique. There is a sutra also which talks about how to pronounce that particular visarga, which precedes a hard consonant. And especially this kakara consonant, it's somewhat unique. And so there is a word for it called Jihwa Muli. Srinivasan, I think we will recall some of our days in the ashram.
Pali Sutra.
Jihwa Muli. Nachaitat vidmah kataranno gariya. It's like spitting, like that it comes. So before the ka, there is like a hakara. So like that, it has to come from that throat. And then he also mentioned the visarga before the pa. Okay. So again, the same chapter, verse number 9. Okay. Gudakesha parantapa, right? Gudakesha and parantapa, correct? And so Gudakesha parantapa. The visarga becomes an F. Sounds like an F. It's like adding a letter F there. These are so unique, little unique. And in addition to, separate from what Srinivasan already said, half of the following consonant and all he said. So Om Shanti Shanti Shanti, right? So there is the half the sha of the sha is coming there. Okay. And so that technical word for this Gudakeshaf Parantapa is called Upadmaniyaha. These two technical words they have given in our Shastram. So if those who are interested may make a note of that. And like that in 5 also there is Yatsankyaif Prapyate Sthanam. Yatsankyaif Prapyate Sthanam. I hope the voice is coming clearly.
Yes.
And so this Haswa Dirgha I mentioned for energy. And so this is so there is matras, they're called matras, the length of pronunciation, we have to be a little careful. And that's why he was appreciating Renate, for whom the language is new. And so a, I. So eka matra and then two matras, like that it goes. A matra is a particular length of the duration. And so that is that. And then the sandhi. The sandhi is always bothersome in Sanskrit. In Hindi, I studied Hindi, but Hindi mein itna problem nahi hai. Lekin Sanskrit mein to hai. So, for example, 6th chapter, Sri Ramji chanted. Number 2, Nahya Sankalpasan, Nahya Sanyasta Sankalpaha. Okay, and then it continues. So that Sankalpo, the book will say Sankalpo. And then, but when we chant, we say Nahya Sanyasta Sankalpaha. Knowing that the word is actually Sankalpaha, but then because of Sandhi of the word, that letter that follows, the Paha becomes Po. And so by practice, we get to know to switch it back to a Visarga, etc. And so you're getting familiar with that. And then Sriramji has chanted it a little differently. His tune was a little different. I was wondering who was his guru, where did he learn from? I was just curious because whatever we learn, whoever we learn from, we pick up their tune, no? And so I was very curious about that.
But am I okay with it, so Guruji?
Oh,
am I pronouncing and my chanting? Because I learned it on my own, just listening to the chants on YouTube. This is the first time I'm having somebody who is a guru to me, who's listening to me and helping me correct myself.
I'm doing it good, but tune is different. Very true. Right? But
what I did is, I just learned the syllable chanting, how to identify each syllable and chant them independently, and then make sure the pronunciation is correct. That's all I learned.
Right. No, it's perfect. No. The tune, sometimes some people have different tunes. And if you go to the northern part of India, they'll have a different tune of saying. So here, tune is not important. So pronunciation is important.
Actually, pardon me, I have never sung in my life. This is the first time I'm, reading a verse, calling it a chant. So maybe it has come on its own.
Yeah, fortunately, this is not a singing competition. Otherwise, we'll all fail. Everybody will fail because we are not trained to be singers. We are only chanting. So that's good.
So is it okay, Guru? Because I have never been assessed by anybody. The first time I am being assessed in my life. I have learned it on my own. I hope my pronunciations and things are okay, are acceptable, or I need improvement.
Pronunciation is okay. The tune was a little peculiar. We need to understand that from there you have.
So I say, pronunciation is pakka. That is what we worry about. And tune, it's okay. Anybody can say in whatever tune they want. Chanting Srinivasanji, everybody has been, what Mahalakshmi ji has been doing is, has been sending her own recordings, audio recordings of her own chanting. And she chants very well. And so many of them are using her, following that. So whichever Brahmananda ji or anybody else that you're familiar with, you can chant. Just 1 minute. And then this one, Srinivasanji said about how he learned to practice, 1 chapter a day, etc. So, and in addition to Shankaracharya's quote, he mentioned, so Shankaracharya wrote another grantha, which many of you know, where he refers to Bhagavad Gita. What is that? You know it? அதுல என்ன சொல்றாரு? What is he saying there?
Deyam Geeta Nama
Namasagashram Deyam Shripati Rupamajashram
Bhagavad Gita Kinchidadita Ganga Bhagavad Gita Kinchidadita. Hey, be somebody who's studied Bhagavad Gita a little, you know, like that he says. So I was reminded of that when Srinivasan said about his experience. So therefore there is it is a pramana. There's a pramanam for this, that we have to chant and study Bhagavad Gita, etc., because this is our shastram, and so we do that. So anyway, I didn't have any more points, but thanks once again, and thanks to Srinivasan ji and for coming here today, and thanks to Mahalakshmi ji. Srinivasan ji, Mahalakshmi ji has been teaching for almost shall we say 4 months now?
From November. Yeah, from November.
November. So almost 3 months, 4 months now. And
so I would suggest please learn Vishnu Sahasranama also.
Yeah.
And all of you, please spend time. Maybe that another class that you can start Vishnu Sahasranama.
Sure.
And once we start learn Vishnu Sahasranama, and if you do every day Parayanam of that, that is the biggest achievement that you can have.
Sir, I do it.
That will change our life. I'm very sure.
It's quite experience.
A lot of Shubham and ward off all some of our hidden variables. Every day as a upasana, if you do that, it's best. But before that, we have to learn. Otherwise, that without learning, if we chant, then all the nama becomes anartha. So better we learn properly through the Guru Mukham, and then if you do every day Parayanam of that, Vishnu Sahasranama, morning, best.
Definitely. And Srinivasan ji, one more thing. Mahalakshmi ji, you may or may not know, she spent many years in Mumbai, Chinmaya Mission, and she was
Pavaya Ashram.
Yeah, Pavaya Ashram. She was coordinating the Bhagavad Gita and other chanting of students, children, for many years. She was a coordinator, regional coordinator, and of course she has taken Vedanta course, and then prior to that, she has a degree in philosophy and psychology, I think. Correct, Mahalakshmi ji?
MA philosophy and psychotherapy and counseling.
Psychotherapy and counseling. Correct. And so we are very happy and we feel thankful that she could come and join and be able to teach everybody Bhagavad Gita Parayana. We look forward to more such teachings from Mahalakshmi ji.
Yeah, I will be glad to even teach Vishnu Sahasranama.
Definitely.
After this, we can finishing Bhagavad Gita.
Definitely. Or in parallel also, if you want.
Parallel also,
better. Otherwise, you complete Gita and chanting, coming to Sahasranama will take a lot of time. Parallel will be better.
Parallel, I think one more day in a week I may have to introduce. But I am free, but I have to find out who are all free too. Yes, we can go about like parallel. We can do.
Yeah, we can discuss it.
A good suggestion. Yes.
And thanks to all students.
Thank you all both the Gurujis. Shall I say the concluding prayers, or anybody wants to say anything? Students.
Students, from the students' point of view.
From the students.
I would like to thank, of course, whatever level that we reached is totally because of Mahalakshmi ji. So on behalf of all of us, I think we should thank her.
Thank you.
And I have been fortunate that my mother insisted that I should learn Vishnu Sahasranam, and I have been reciting it for the last 15 years. And it took me 1 year because every day I used to play the MS Subbalakshmi's cassette, and then along with that, I used to hear and chant. Now I am quite fluent with it. But sometimes what happens is that one word which is repeated the previous somewhere before.
Yeah, but if you have learned to chant Vishnu Sahasranama through the recording,
yes,
it's better that you get all the verses corrected through the teacher. See, these things we should not learn only through recording. Because it's a Nama Ucharanam. And Alpa Prana, if it becomes Mahaprana. So instead of going to Devata, it may go to the Asura, So it's better that we should.
The Bayark. Yes.
Nama Ucharanam has to be perfect. And get it through, get this ratified by the teacher.
Certainly. I'll send my entire recording to Mahalakshmi and request her to correct it.
Sure.
Instead of recording, one by one, you say, take a time, 15 minutes or half an hour a day. And that particular time, how much ever slokas you can chant slowly and get it perfected. 1-to-1 would be better.
Okay. Definitely.
Once again, I should thank three Gurujis for the excellent work that whatever we have reached today, it's because of your efforts. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ravi. Thank you. Okay, anybody else who wants to say something?
Second.
எல்லாருக்கும் and namaste.
Okay, ma'am.
ரொம்ப சந்தோஷம்.
Okay. I think I'll say the concluding prayers. Is that okay? Yeah. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnahat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sorry. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Sorry, excuse me.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Thanks to all of you.
Thank you all.
Jagavaji, just stay back for a minute. My mother wants to.